Sup, nerds? I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
Holy shit.
This is a big game. There's a lot to do, and everything you do has something else that can be done because of the thing you did. It's kind of like a Euro game. You know, Vital is like known for his heavy games with lots of mechanics going on, but they all work together in a way that they make sense. And this is kind of a perfect example of that. Like it's not the heaviest of his heavy games, but it's definitely heavy. It definitely has a lot of flavor. It has a lot of things going on, but they all kind of make sense. We all have robbed a bunch of banks, and we're going around the city, and we're trying to secure our funds
because somebody called in. Yeah, somebody called in an anonymous tip. So we're all like, "Oh no, the fuzz is actively after us right now. We need to get out of here." Mm-hmm. But before we get out, we're gonna scramble around the city,
shake down businesses, get
all the money that we invested into businesses and put in lockboxes and that kind of stuff.
We also have to find out how do we get out of the city because they're locking it down. There's only one way out.
We're listening to the police scanner to figure out which exit isn't blocked, and there's like a lot of things going on. We're gonna be putting out tiles, so the city. We're slowly finding out the map of the city, even though we should have already known it, and we're gonna be traveling around. And when we get to the businesses, and then there's also safe houses, we're going to be using our investment tokens, which are our money. Everybody has their own escape plan. They've kind of we've all invested differently and stuff. So some, like if I go to a casino, it may just give me a payout, income. Yeah. Or it may be something that I had a bigger investment in, which is worth a lot more money for me, but it's not currently worth anything. Right. I'll get that money after I escape. It's kind of like it's not as liquid of an investment. It's like big money, but it's only endgame points.
It's cash on hand or endgame points, and you are correct in that escape plan card. It's a big part of the game because everybody gets one face down, and their money and income is distributed differently amongst the 9 businesses and safe houses. But it's really important to know. So Wes had said, you want to escape. We have to get out. There's only one exit. But there's also the first person to escape makes it more expensive for the next person and then makes it more expensive for the next person. So when you get income, you will get 9 as the maximum. The minimum you could get is 1. So you always get a single digit income. But then when you look at that escape plan card, this invested endgame money is 100. That is so many orders of magnitude greater than what my income is. Yeah. But that cash on hand is really important because you may, I have 100 or I have 60 or I have $70,000 for the end of the game, but I don't have enough
$6 right now.
Yeah, I don't have enough cash.
Anything. I can't bribe. I can't pay to get these upgrades.
Or you can't exit.
Yeah.
I have all this endgame money, but I didn't get out, so I got arrested. I'm done.
And most of the things that you do to get those investments and end of game points are decreasing your income. So you have to be really careful when you get what, because some of the things that decrease your income, get you money right now. So I'm going from 8 income to 7 income, but I'm getting 10 money right now. So maybe I need that money right now to accomplish something or to buy my way past the cops. But you have to be really careful that you don't rounds 1 and 2. You just end up with $200,000 or 200 of your end of game points. But now you're out of cash and you can't afford to do the rest of the things or even get out of the city.
It's also easy to just tell people it's dollars and not. It is supposed to be thousands thematically, but sometimes you'll go $100,000 and all I get here is 9. Oh wait, hang on.
$1,000.
Yeah, 9,000. Yeah.
The mechanics of that though, it almost not the money, the getting out.
Right.
It low key reminded me of Clank, of we're going down, we're trying to get as much as we can, and none of that matters if we can't escape as well.
Mm-hmm. But it is less variable than Clank because Clank, I guess it's more like Clank in space. Because Clank in space, having to hurry up and get out isn't for a certain amount of time. In Clank, I could go grab the first one and run out. It could be 2 turns, or not 2, but you know what I mean. It could be just a small handful of turns. In here, you all know it's coming. You all know when it's going to happen.
On the 3rd day is when we find out the information. You could find it on the 2nd day if we got, the first 2 cards come out as 1 and 2, and the next 2 cards come out are 1 and 2. Then the last card in the deck is a 3, and the 3, but
I don't think
like,
you can still escape though until that 3rd day.
you could be
The
ready
thing is,
for it.
yeah, he said you're right. You could know. That's true.
Yeah.
And you could be your very first action could be to get out. But
But also knowing doesn't help really help you at all, other than positioning yourself so those exits are on the board.
Mhm.
Like knowing that exit 3 is going to be the one that's to get me out, and exit 3 is not on the board yet, does not help me at all.
That's true, because somebody else could be the one who places it and
Yeah.
they put it really far away from you. But so I've heard a lot of people say that this is the simplest Vital Lacerda game. And so I haven't played all of his games. I think this is still only the 3rd one I've played. I played Lisboa and Kanban. And while I would probably agree that so simple is a very relative term.
Yeah.
Because this is still a huge game. It's still a big game. Maybe you could say, if you've got players who've played a lot of games and some big games, but they've never played like a really big game, maybe this would be good because it's the most easily digestible, and all the mechanics makes more sense thematically than they do almost mechanically. Like in Kanban, you could just be like, have you played a worker placement game before? Yes. Okay, cool. Well, then this will be easy for me to explain to you that you place a worker, it's a straight line. You can place it here to get 2 actions, or you can place it, go later to get 3 actions. This area gets you car parts. This area, moves the cars. This area does this, and it would make sense mechanically. Here, you don't really explain the game mechanically as much as you do thematically. Also because it's mechanically, it's a much simpler of just you move to a location, avoid the police, and then do something at that location.
Yeah, it definitely isn't like an easy game.
No.
But it is, I think it's probably a first step into Vital Lacerda. If you're introducing people to the big, crunchy, heavy games, probably don't pull Lisboa off the shelf. If they've played Lords of Waterdeep, don't take them to Lisboa. But
yeah, it's still probably put even more games between
yeah,
Lords of Waterdeep and Escape
But
Plan,
when you're going to the heavies, this is
Right.
probably a good one to start with. And I can also see how if those big, ridiculous, dense games are your favorite, you may kind of scoff at this one and be like, that's not, it doesn't give you the same crunch as the other
Well,
one.
this thing is, I'm like, it is lighter than the other ones, but again, it's been like 2 years since I've played Lisboa and about like 6 months since I've played Kanban. So I'm like, this is lighter, but
There's
what?
still a lot of strategy.
Yeah, like what? 15% lighter, 20% lighter, 25%.
I don't
30?
scoff at all.
35.
Who knows?
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. And it was kind of nice to have that like really big, heavy experience and not have my head hurt quite as much at the end of the game.
One thing that thematically makes a lot of sense is that, so we're going around to these businesses, we're like, getting our investments out of it. And so in a 3-player game, once 2 of us have gone to that business and done something, it'll kind of shut down. Like they're like, oh crap, we're gonna shut down so nobody else can come get their stuff from us. But there are keys in this game that you use for lock boxes. They're actual physical keys. That
I think the keys are upgrades.
well, but they're still physical looking keys.
Yeah,
They're made
even
out
the
of
cardboard
cardboard.
tokens
Okay.
are cutouts. Yeah.
And you're gonna use them to either you can still like unlock your way into a locked out building if you are like, oh, I had $100,000 in that building, I really need to get in there, it's worth it for me. You can spend any key, or you can spend them on the lock boxes, which there's 3 different levels of lockbox, which you need to be more proficient and like have more upgrades to be able to unlock the higher ones, which have better payouts. And I thought that was really cool. That like, oh, there's like, okay, I'm going to a safe house because I'm there. The safe houses never get locked out, which is cool. I go there. I'm gonna do my investment token, and then I get a key, and I can use that key to either get into a building that I've been locked out of or go to a lockbox.
Right.
So
the
like,
mechanics make sense thematically.
Yeah.
Right. Like the when you're explaining to someone, well, what does the key do? Well, you need it to unlock this, or you could potentially use it for this. The safe houses never get shut down because it's
they're
just a
safe.
safe house. Yeah, they're safe. Like it all kind of.
and they help
makes
lower
sense.
your notoriety because you're like
You're
off.
with-
You're in the cool down mode when you're getting away from the cops. You're like,
You're
okay,
away from the heat, from the fuzz.
You go to a hospital to heal. If you go to the actual hospital, they have to report your wounds because it's a gunshot wound.
And your
If
notoriety
you
goes
go
up.
to the little minute clinics, they're a little sketchier, and you don't.
They're in a
get
bad part of town.
Yeah. You go to the grocery store to buy bulletproof vests.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I just realized, so the lockers are at the grocery store. So they're
It'll-
like, welcome to Publix. What do you have in the locker here? Don't worry, we got your money right here. And also, here's this, you can go at a sub, half off sandwiches.
I love grocery
Chicken tender
stores.
sub.
I get there's a cart, but they have gas, safes,
I think
and
it's just a
like
convenience
police
store.
gear.
Maybe it's
It's a
just,
sketchy
maybe
store.
it's a front.
Yeah.
I
I
see.
mean, if we've invested our money in this town, it's probably all dirty.
Yeah.
That's why it keeps changing.
There's the gangs you can take over. If you put your influence in that gang, you get those 2 bikers, which you can use for other special actions. And there's tons of those like little special actions you can use during your very simple turn of like, okay, I'm gonna move and avoid cops if maybe
you
take
need
some
to,
moves,
yeah.
and then take an action at the building. But along the way, you can have tokens you unlock to give you either extra actions or help you avoid cops.
There's a whole list of executive actions, which is really just special ability stuff on your board that you could use.
You could hire Danny Ocean to join your team.
There actually is, in the rulebook, there's tons of quotes from like Heat and Ocean's 11 and stuff. That's a pretty nice touch. I like that.
Nice. It is one of those games that with the upgrades and stuff, if everyone else is upgrading and getting a bunch of stuff and you're not, and like you could be doing other stuff that's really valuable, but like you definitely feel that behind. Like I need to kind of keep up with the meta of if they're all unlocking a bunch of stuff and I'm just banking victory points and not getting income or getting money or getting these tokens, then you're gonna get kind of trapped because like moving through the town, there's cops everywhere that are gonna shoot at you or try to capture you if you don't have the gear to get past them or a way to get around them. And the movement's really cool too because it's not tile to tile. It's zone to zone, like, you know, the park zone to the industrial zone to whatever these colors are.
Yeah.
But, like, this big green piece right here is all one space.
One movement.
So, like, 1, 2, 3. However, you get wounds for every space you leave that has...
Every tile
you leave that has a cop on it. So if I go here all the way over here, but
There's a
both
bunch
of
of
these
cops.
tiles have cops on them, I'm getting wounds as I'm running past them all, even though it's
Right.
only one movement.
So that is an area of potential clunkiness. Like, I think it still works and it's still pretty straightforward. But the cops are on a tile, wounds are triggered via tiles, but movement is via these big clumps of color. Could be a little potentially clunky. Your wounds could be potentially clunky. Well, when you gain 3, it's -60. When you gain 1 more, you heal 1. But then you put a handcuff card here. But what if you gain 2 wounds? We should do it one at a time. So you're gonna heal 1 and then gain 1 back.
And
Notoriety is a little bit clunky because it's like you gain and you put in the gain and lose columns in the top left hand
So they
corner.
could cancel out at the end of the.
Yeah, it's only at the end of the round that you adjust onto the score thing.
That,
you know.
So I get the clunkiness potentially there, but the notoriety tracker was one of the really cool things I thought in this game.
Really?
Because it's not just going up and down the track, it only scores at certain parts.
Well, it's at the end of the round. It's just,
Yeah.
I think it's just so that you don't hop up and down
Across
on that
those lines.
across the line too many times.
But there are certain things that, like, at this notoriety it happens, or whoever has more notoriety or something. So,
because of when you cross over, whoever has more notoriety, you get to move the thing.
yeah, so, like, I could have more notoriety than you in my zone, but it hasn't actually scored, like, it hasn't gotten out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and, like, you can mitigate it over here before it even goes over there. Like, I thought it was a really interesting thing.
It's also important to note that we do have the Kickstarter upgrade pack. It has there's a list of all the things. I know the table's such a mess right now.
Get these upgraded clear tokens, which
We actually don't. That's the only thing I don't
purple
like.
and pink look too similar when they're on top of things.
And
And
pink
there's-
and orange aren't that different either.
And they're slightly smaller, so like they don't really fit into the engraved board. And the board is really nice with the double
yeah.
engrave. So that's the only aspect I don't like, though. But it adds
The keys.
it adds the metal keys, so it adds a bunch of upgraded components. But it also adds special player powers, player missions, and more.
a couple cards. that
Yeah,
get
more
mixed in.
cards, more tiles, fixer tiles. So if you can get your hands on it, you should definitely get. Because I think Eagle Griffin usually has like Kickstarter
Promo
upgrade
packs.
packs available. You should definitely get it.
Yeah, having the player powers and the missions really spice up the game. Like the extra tiles are nice and all, but this is definitely the metal keys are super awesome.
Do we have any complaints about this game?
the clunkiness,
The
of
potential
cops.
clunkiness.
Yeah, I mean,
Potential clunkiness.
I feel like
I'm just
some
saying.
amount of clunkiness
Mine-
is to be expected in heavy games.
Well, all I'm saying is it's such a smooth game that that eventually there's going to be a couple of wrinkles. There's one particular card that I'm like I might remove it just so that this game has almost no wrinkles. It was the sewers. It's like
you move between tiles.
You move between tiles, but it only costs one movement point if you don't change color types, and you avoid the police on either tiles. But can you do it in the middle of a move? Should you do it before move? Like. It's just, it requires explanation when so few things here actually do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this game is so big, but like, everything's like, you get it? Yeah, I get it. You get it? Yeah, I get it. You get it? Yeah, I get it. You know?
I think my one complaint would be that you could do a lot of work and rack up a lot of money and still lose because you didn't have the cash on hand to escape. Because you didn't, if you would escape first, you could have got out for free, but you just didn't have the cash to escape on a later turn.
So I definitely understand that being somebody's
But that's
complaint.
that's something that can happen in like Clank as well, where like it can collapse on you and you're like, oh, I went to the very bottom and got the best thing. And I
That's
should have
more
won.
of a timer thing though than like you just don't have the money to get out. In Clank.
In Clank, yeah.
And this one,
you could have made poor decisions throughout the game that leave you in the situation where you were unable to escape.
yeah, I could see it being like even if it was like negative 200 points if you don't get out or something. So that
But
like
you still get
you still get the something. It's not like
dying in that top half of Clank. You know what I mean?
yeah. So like because like when we were playing and Aaron didn't get out, he's like, oh, I did really well. I almost would have won had I gotten out, but instead I get nothing.
Yeah.
And that can like just like a pride thing. It can just make you feel bad.
Yeah.
You just need to make sure you have enough money to get out, no matter how much it costs you to get out.
You also just when teaching the game, you need to be like, cash on hand is super important.
Yeah.
You know.
I think what I did is I just got too many of my like big like money investments. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get 100,000 when I get out. I'm gonna get 80,000 here, 90,000 there. But I should have went and collected my income first. But like, okay, I'm gonna cash out here and get 9 income. Then go over here, cash out, get 8 income. The next day, I'll get the 8 again. And I'll come over here and cash out and get 7 income.
So
and then do the
you're
big things.
fine.
That was all mistakes that you made during the game.
But like,
Your
that's just a
problem was
strategy.
you got greedy. Because you could have gotten out first,
Yeah.
and then I wouldn't have been able to get out. But you said, I'm probably fine. I could probably
I
go
just
and
did
get
do
a
the
little
math,
bit
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So again, I totally understand that being somebody's complaint. Maybe if somebody says I won't play the game because of that, I'd be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I totally understand it being someone's complaint. And I was even thinking, like when I first played, I was like, do I not like that? And I'm thinking, because it's something that you know from the very beginning. It doesn't jump out on you. It doesn't just go boom. You're like, oh no. I'm like, I think I'm okay with it. I think I'm cool with it. But I don't know. I think overall this game is just so much fun.
Yeah. It
It's
definitely
quick, too.
is. It fits right in with the other Vital Lacerda from Eagle Griffin games. The component quality is amazing. It's fun to play. It's crunchy, but not like... I don't feel like this one was unnecessarily crunchy.
Considering component quality, maybe not counting games that do minis, because Eagle Griffin doesn't really do minis much. Is there a Euro game company that has better quality than Eagle Griffin? I think they might be like the top notch for me.
Because all their tokens are like the thickest.
Which is just premier.
They're the thickest.
The thickness, the sturdiness, the girth.
You can try and bend them and they don't.
So if you're looking for a copy of Escape Plan, we will have a purchase link in the description box down below where you can get yourself a copy.
While you're down there, subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.